Okay, we're starting off in child's pose today. That just means your big toes are touching. You're sitting on your heels, and you can have your knees together or not. And you can come all the way down with your forehead, or some folks like to kind of stay up on their elbows and shift around for a little while, especially if you're feeling tension in your hips and low back. A little movement can feel nice. And you can let your head hang here. It feels nice to give your neck a break. Let your neck be long. And chances are, if you give yourself a little time just to rock and relax into it, you'll find your forehead coming all the way down. You might even rest it on your wrists if that works better. But some way or another, settle into a very low down child's pose. And let's take that big breath. So we're looking for a complete inhale, complete exhale. So we want to increase all the space of the back body, the front body, and the side bodies with the inhale. And we're thinking of pulling everything back towards center on the exhale. And we'll take a few more moments just to breathe deeply like this. Okay, so get settled in through your nose as much as you can, you're breathing. And hopefully you notice that each round of breath is a little smoother. You might release a little bit more tension with each exhale. Hopefully you feel your hips and your low back kind of softening and melting into gravity. So we'll take a little bit more time here, but I want to start to kind of wake up the upper body so that we can really open up the space between the shoulders, chest, armpits, all that good stuff. So keep your hips really heavy on your heels. As a matter of fact, you can use your hands on the mat to create a little bit more weight in your hips, can't you? If you push the hands down, maybe the hips move back and down a little bit. And that might feel really nice in your low back as you gradually increase that distance between your hips and your rib cage. So with our hands out front, we're pushing the mat. We can start to kind of activate the arms a little bit. We want a long neck. But if we kind of look side to side, look under one armpit, look under the other, we're getting a gentle rotation and twist in the upper spine. And hopefully it also feels really nice in your armpits and your chest. Okay, and then let's kind of bring the nose to point back down at the floor as we walk hands out to the left. So with your hands out to the left, do the same thing. Press down on the floor. This time, your hips are moving way out to the back right corner of your mat. So you're feeling real spacious across your right side. And you can play around here. If you're looking for a really gentle vibe for your practice today, you might barely press against the mat with your hands. You might barely pull back on your right hip. But if you're feeling a little spicier and you want to kind of get a little deeper, you can increase that intensity. And you're always kind of making these decisions throughout your practice. Let's take the hands through center and to the right and do the same thing. Strong arms resist the floor as much as you like. And now the left hip is moving away from your hands. And we're having some really big breath into the left side here. Maybe one more breath right here. Let's bring this back into center, okay? So hands walk back to center. Use your strong grip on the mat to pull yourself up to hands and knees. And let's do some cat-cows up here. Bring in a bit more mobility to your spine and a bit more balance to your front and back body. Let's make sure we have a nice grip on the mat. So you see a lot of space between your fingers. Okay, your pointer fingers are pointing at the front of the mat. And as you grip actively on the floor, your elbows can pull inward a little bit to turn on your chest. Okay, so your upper body is strong here. Keep your belly button lifting away from the floor as you pull your heart forward on the inhale. So think of peeling open your rib cage front. And exhale, push into the floor. Peel open the back of your rib cage. Okay, keeping that belly button like it wants to stay away from the floor. And what we do with that belly button is we're really protecting the low back from extending too much. And that's allowing this movement, okay, this big extensive arch to roll into your upper back where you really need it, okay, after working at a computer and our posture gets a little bit forward hunched. Okay, we're gonna do maybe 2 or 3 more. I want you to get into your side body a little bit. Roll sideways, make it weird. All right, I'll meet you back at a flat back. Let's get the right knee up and we'll keep the hips level for now. So keep the right hip hanging low where the left hip is, and we'll circle out the right knee just as much as we can like that. It's gonna feel a little limited, but notice what particular parts of your hip and your glutes are working when you're doing this. Let's rewind that. Okay, now we're gonna pick up the right hip. We're gonna open it up, stack it on top of the left, and make this really big, silly movement. And let's rewind it. So biggest circles you can make with your knee. Okay, next time you have that right knee back behind you, pause, extend the right leg, and if you flex your right ankle, drop your toes to the floor. We can transition to a supported side plank, a really nice side stretch. Simply pivot on your left knee and drop your right heel. And then you're ready to reach up with your right hand. So here we are. And take a little time to fidget and make it just right. Ideally, when you look down at the floor, you want to see that your left hand, your left knee, and your right foot are all in a straight line with each other. So you can use that as kind of a guideline. Okay, from here, we're in a really nice posture to open up your right shoulder. So lengthen your spine to the best of your ability. Okay, I want you to make sure that your fingers of the left hand are pointed at the front of your mat and your elbow points slightly at your hips. Okay, it's pointed backward a little bit. Your neck is long. Engage that right arm by reaching out and pulling back at the same time. And we'll circle out the shoulder. So nice big breath here. Keep this as isolated as you can. And we'll take it back the other way. Okay, we want to feel the shoulder getting warmer, happier, more open. Okay, the right hand is reaching up. Pause here. I'm going to have you pull your belly button into your spine. So activate your core, and right fingers are going to pull you up into the air. Take it slow because I want you to feel your core strength pulling you up, 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 until your torso is balanced over your hips, okay? Take a moment here. We're gonna keep going into a Parigasana or gate pose, but first we need to reorient the right leg. So just pick up your right toes, bend the right knee slightly, and put those right toes on the floor, pointed out to the right. So now we've opened up the right hip. We've externally rotated it. Pull your belly button in, arms out wide. And think of pushing down a little extra through that left knee as you reach to the right. So take your time breathing here. I want you to feel a really nice stretch across your left side here, okay, through the hip flexor, through the low back perhaps. And you can bend the right knee more or less, you decide. But at some point, I want you to grab onto your right shin somewhere and get a good grip on it with your right hand. We're going to reach up with the left hand. Big breath here. Okay, stay strong. Don't collapse in your side body. Okay, I catch myself kind of collapsing here. But I want you to really press down through your legs. Lengthen your spine. And breathe deeply into that left hip. If you want to back out of this, you always have the option to come up and out of it, okay? If you're feeling pretty good and you want to deepen the posture and move a little further into it, you can reach your left hand over to the right, but I want you to really pull your belly button in, push down through your left knee, and think of pressing your hip bones out in the direction that you're looking. Big breath here. Maybe one or two more big breaths. So you decide how relaxed or how deep you want this posture to be for you. And you're ready to come up now. So reaching out with that left hand, slowly pull yourself all the way back up to center. And then see how slowly you can lower yourself all the way back down. Control from within. Left hand down. Okay, this time, let's get a side stretch on the opposite side. That right hand reaches away from the right foot. Close your eyes and take a few really big breaths here, okay? If you really press down in the outer edge of that right foot and you really reach the right fingertips away, you can get a great opening across the right side. Remember, keep your belly button pulling in. You want that core control all the time. Maybe one more big breath here. Should feel really nice. And we'll bring it back around to hands and knees. So come on back. Right hand spins down. Right knee spins down. Okay, and this is a really great time if you want to tuck your toes here, only if that's comfortable. But try just sitting back on your heels. You can always untuck if it's too much. But let's stretch out our wrists and our forearms, do some hand care here. So you can start with palm up or palm down, but we want to do both. So fingers pointed back at you. We're going to roll over both sides of the hand. We want to think of finding kind of sticky spots and loosening the fascia. Make sure you do both sides. And feel free to really spread your fingers here. Sometimes you'll find that the finger spread makes all the difference. Okay. Maybe shake them out a little bit. And we'll go back down to the mat and we'll do the other side. Ready? Back down to hands and knees here. Let's get the left knee up. And keeping the hips level as we can for now, we'll start to circle out the left hip. So keep that belly button pulling in. All right, we always want to think of lifting belly button to spine. Why? So that we can strengthen the low back support system, okay? If our low back is happy and supported, it really makes a better life. Okay, rewind your hip circles. And now open up your left hip, pick it up, stack it on top of the right. Make a big, ridiculous circle, as big as you can. And rewind it. Okay, next time that left knee is pointed back behind you, extend the left leg. Drop those toes. Okay, we're pivoting on the right knee. Left heel drops. We can reach up with this left hand and we have a supported side plank on this side. So get comfortable. I'm going to spin around to face you. All right, same thing, other side. So if you really ground through the outer edge of that left foot, it's really nice for your ankle. And we want to make sure that things on the floor are relatively in a straight line. So give me a nice long neck here, belly button pulling in. We have a lot of length in the spine. And we'll start to circle out this left shoulder. Let's make it active, however. So reach out through the bones, pull back through the muscles, and circle it out. How much can you isolate this movement? Okay, notice if your chest tends to want to come along, that's fine, but see if you could maybe isolate it a little more. Rewind that. Okay, shoulders should be feeling a little bit warmer. So reaching up with that left hand, pause. And here's where I want you to grab some core control. So belly button to spine, coming up light on your right fingertips. See if you could hover them and start to pull yourself up to center. Okay, once you get here, pause. We need to open up the left hip if we're going to keep going. So a little bend in the left knee, toes point to the left, and now we're free to keep going. We have more space. So root down through that right knee, please. Give it some real good press and start to reach out to the left. So you're breathing here, really super hyper aware of the tissue in that right hip, low back. And find a place to grab your left shin with your left hand. That right arm's going to come up here. And take your time here. We're just going to be. So remember, you have the option to come out at any time. You're still here, okay? You can stay where you are, or you can deepen this and take it a little further by reaching that right hand out over to the left. Keep your neck, okay? If your neck disappeared, bring it back. And then keep pushing down into your legs. Make them strong. Okay, you're looking for extra space in that right side here. Maybe one more big breath in here in Parigasana or gate pose. And as you're ready, pull yourself up and out. So use core control. Pull yourself up. Okay, pull yourself all the way. How long can you take to come all the way back down to the right? From here, let's get that left side stretch to go along with that. So reach the left fingers very far away from the left foot. Take some big breaths here. Lengthen that neck if you can, and maybe peel open your chest. Remember to keep that belly button engaging inward so your low back stays neutral. All right. As you're ready, spiral yourself back down to hands and knees. And if you want to tuck your toes and sit back on your heels, awesome. If you want to untuck, that's great. But go ahead and sit back on your heels again. And I want to get hands behind your back here. So we have fingers interlaced. Grabbing elbows is nice if you want a little bit more space. Shoulders maybe are tight. But get your hands or arms, joints behind you. And we want to think of pulling that belly button inward. So you're keeping your low back neutral, right? You're pulling your tailbone forward. So you've really neutralized your pelvis. So let that give you stability. 2, slide your shoulder blades together and down and lift your heart here. So we're just going to take a little time just to breathe into your big chest. And I'm going to give you some options to play with. So you can stay here, you could take a break, grab your elbows, or I want to offer you kind of a fun option to kind of experiment with. If you want to experiment with bringing your palms together, you can start just by putting your fingertips on your low back. And then you could start by you could continue to walk your fingertips toward each other. For some folks, this will be easy. For some folks, it's challenging. So just wherever you are, it's perfect. But maybe you want to bring palms together and you could kind of scoot them back between your shoulder blades here. And we want to think of moving those elbows out and back, belly button up and in. So just something fun to play with. Wherever you are, maybe one more big breath right there. And release that. Hands back down in front. You can untuck your toes. That was a long time to have them tucked. From here, my friends, sit your hips out to one side. Come all the way down to your back. So we'll flip it all the way over. And I'd like to see how slowly we can take to come down. So if you roll your tailbone to point at your toes, you can kind of take your time rolling down. Controlling that spine, one vertebra comes down at a time. Once you've landed, pull your feet up and in by your hips. We'll take the feet pretty wide and we'll get some windshield wipers going. Nice and slow. Mostly just to assess the situation in your hips and low back. What's going on? How's it feeling? This is also a really fantastic massage for your glutes. Okay, they usually need some help. All right, gotta love windshield wipers. So simple, but so profound. Okay, next time your knees point up, shimmy your feet back in so that they're pretty close to your hips and they're about hip width. And palms down by your hips as well. Make sure you give a little extra scooch of your shoulder blades underneath your heart. And then put an imaginary tennis ball between your knees. So you want to imagine that you're trying to hold a ball. You don't want to drop it. And just tune in for a moment. Notice as you draw those knees toward each other, okay, lifting your tailbone a little bit, okay? It's going to help you engage your core. And that's why I ask you to grab that tennis ball between your knees. So keep that, okay? Keep that core engagement and lift your hips nice and high. You can inhale and expand your chest here. With your exhale, drop your hips, but don't drop your tennis ball. So let's take a few more breaths, up and down. Inhale up. And exhale down. And close your eyes, okay? I'll use my words. You don't have to look at me unless you really need to. You may enjoy joining your hands underneath you, okay? You might get a little extra chest stretch here, scooching your shoulder blades underneath you. Next time you come up, let's just experiment with staying there for a few breaths. So you decide what's right for you. If you need a break, please come down. But if everything's going okay, let's take a few breaths here in your bridge posture. Please keep in mind that you need to be pointing your nose straight up so that the back of your neck stays off the mat. And we don't have to worry about your cervical spine getting crunched, okay? Breathe deeply. Pull the knees in toward each other. And notice any warmth building on the back side of your body. Okay, one more big breath in here in your bridge posture. Release your hands if you join them. Let's see how slowly we can roll the spine down, one vertebra at a time. Think of lengthening the spine as you roll it down. Okay, the very last thing to come down is your tailbone as it finally untucks. And then bring your knees in. One knee in each hand makes a really nice grip so that you can stir your hips around, making opposite knee circles. And make sure whatever direction you go first, you rewind. Okay, bring it all back in. We're going to keep the right knee, but we're going to release the left leg out long on the mat. Both hands can grip that right knee and pull it in, okay? If that's too much pressure on your knee, feel free to do the behind the knee grip. It's really same, okay? Pretty much the same idea. So ground those shoulder blades. Big breath. We're tuning in to how that right hip is feeling right now. And we're looking in particular for any kind of feeling of release. It should feel pleasant. It may be intense, okay, in that right hip flexor. However, if the intensity decreases over time, then we generally think of that as a good thing, okay? If it's increasing over time, then we want to back off of that. We don't want to stay with uncomfortable discomfort that increases over time. Maybe one more big breath right here. And then I'm going to have you use just your left hand to move this right knee over to the left and turn it into a twist. So allow that right knee to drop to the floor. And then let's make a really big cactus arm out of this right arm and open up your big right chest and armpit out to the right. Look to the right. And you're expanding your whole upper body out in the direction of the right elbow. Let's breathe here. Close your eyes. Take 4 or 5 more long, slow breaths in this big twist. As you press down into your shoulder blades, could you lift your heart a little more? Think of a long spine on your inhale and the belly button moving toward your spine on the exhale. All right, we're going to back out of this. We're going to roll it back into center here. And now we can release the right leg. Just let it rest. And let's bring in the left. So left knee in. We have the choice. Sensitive knee, I'd grab behind the thigh. Happy knee, I'd grab the shin. And we want to squeeze this knee toward the center of your chest, grounding your shoulder blades so that your chest doesn't collapse. Breathe into that left hip flexor. What is going on in that hip joint? Really tune in here. If you are blessed with really happy, open, balanced hips and you don't feel anything here, amazing, good for you. You might want to kick it up a little bit by pressing your left knee into your hands as your hands pull in. So you can kind of add some resistance and find a little bit more opening if you need it. Maybe one more breath here. As you're ready, we'll turn this into a twist. So just your right hand is going to grab your left knee and move it to the right. You can take it really low, and it's okay if it floats the knee, okay? But you're thinking about moving it down. You can use the right hand as a helper. The left arm is going to cactus itself over to the left, and you're going to look out past your elbow as you do your best to ground your arms and your shoulder blades. So you're pressing down. That's going to give you a little extra lift in your chest and a little oomph to your twist. Big breath here. You're massaging all your spine and organs here. Long spine. Strong belly exhales. All right, we're gonna roll this back through center. Come on through, come back in. From here, just extend your arms and legs. Make yourself really long here. I'd like to seal off this practice with a banana pose. You can call it a crescent pose. So make yourself as long as you can be. Your arms and legs are reaching out very long away from each other. And we want to keep a long neck. So if you notice your neck start to disappear into your ears and your shoulders, then just move the shoulder blades down away from your ears, okay? So keep that length. And we'll just take the legs out to the right. So both legs move out to the right. And once you go as far as you want to go, you can stack the left ankle over the right. And we're going to take the arms and the head out to the right. So everything out there. The hips stay over in the center though. So we create this long line across the side body. And I like to grip the left wrist with the right hand here. Put it on the floor and gently draw it further to the right. So you're just closing your eyes here. You're just taking big, deep breaths into that left side. Lengthening your neck and pulling your belly button toward the ground. You keep your spine as long as possible. Maybe one more big breath here in your banana pose. And let's bring this back through center. We'll just rebuild it on the other side. So the legs will go out to the left. You can stack the right ankle on top. Arms out to the left. Left hand grabs right wrist, puts it down. and to the left. And now we have this big open right side. So I really want to encourage you to keep the spine long by drawing that belly button down and lengthening your neck. And send your breath into that right side. Use the breath as your most powerful tool here, along with time and gravity. If you're right-handed, you'll feel this a lot more. And if you're left-handed, maybe you notice the other side more. We're always gathering information like that throughout the practice. All right, my friends, bring it on back through center. Come on through. And then float your hands back down by your hips. So we're heading toward our final resting posture. It might be Shavasana or something like it. But wherever you are, flip your palms up, scoop your shoulder blades underneath your heart. And relax. So here is the culmination of our practice. Everything we've done up until this point has led to this moment where we get to let go. Okay, we let go of the breath. We just let it run wild. No longer regulating the pace or the depth. We just see what the breath does when we let it free. Allow your face to soften and let go. Your jaw, your eyebrows. Allow all effort and sense of doing to drain out of your body. Release all control even over your thoughts. Just let them tumble and play like kittens while you just observe without doing anything at all. And having thus settled yourself in this moment, notice exactly what is going on right now. What exactly do you feel in your body? What exactly do you hear and sense in your environment? And allow yourself to truly be in this moment. And please keep resting like this for as long as you can. 5 minutes would be the ideal minimum, and longer would be better. This is where I will leave you for our practice today. And thank you so much for practicing with me and taking good care of yourself.